Hello everybody, welcome to Bud Labs. I am Bud and I have created a clipboard manager for X11, and this video will be about that program I have created. I call it Halen. It is inspired by ClipJump, which I had open here, the documentation for ClipJump, which is a old Windows only clipboard manager. I'm not even sure it works on Windows anymore, because this hasn't been updated in 10 years or something here. I found this fork which seems to be a little bit more active, but I have no idea how well this works. But ClipJump is an incredible clipboard manager, and it is the only clipboard manager I have used and liked. All other clipboard managers I have tried has been so bad that I have ended up not using a clipboard manager at all. And that's a shame, because clipboard managers are really useful. So to start here, what is a clipboard manager? I can show you the built-in clipboard manager in Sublime. If I press Ctrl K and V, it will show me the built-in clipboard manager for Sublime. And it's a simple little menu with each of these entries in this menu is a different clipboard. So something I have copied. So if I paste this, then it pasted that. And if I copy this, and now we can see this is the top entry, like the last entry is the first entry in the clipboard manager, so to speak. So it stores clipboards. Whenever you copy something, it stores that to a history. One problem with Sublime's clipboard manager is that it is local to Sublime. So if I copy something outside of Sublime, for example here, now this text will not be available in the history here. And that, in my opinion, is a very big drawback, because you often do exactly that, copy things from a browser, for example. And just this little thing here, sometimes you have like, maybe you open a documentation for a program or something with multiple code blocks. With a clipboard manager, you could copy each and every one of those code blocks and then go to your text editor and select which code block you want to paste and so on. It's super useful with a clipboard manager. And it can be used and exploited for all kinds of weird workflows. Actually, it's very good to have a good clipboard manager. But Sublime's built-in clipboard manager is completely useless. First and foremost because it is local to Sublime, but also the UI itself is terrible in my opinion. This menu, like multi-line blocks, and sometimes none of these makes any sense what they exactly represent, these entries. And that is how many clipboard managers work. The clipboard manager I like the most when I searched for an alternative, when I first jumped to Linux like 10 years ago, was Parselite. And I almost started using it, but it has like the same issue as the built-in Sublime clipboard manager, that it displays the history in a menu like this. Maybe there is like some mode to show, what do we have here? Display current entry. Maybe you can make it a little bit more useful, but as I remember, it is. I simply couldn't get used using this, and I really don't like this menu-based one entry, one line kind of stuff here. Another thing that made ClipJump so good to use, it is one insane, totally batshit crazy design decision, which is to have Control C and Control V be kind of global key bindings to manage the clipboard. And that is insane to have a global key binding on Control V. But that actually made it so that I used the clipboard manager, because I remember trying to get used to using Parselight here, but you cannot set, you can actually do that. You can set Control V to be the key binding to bring up the menu. Okay, and now if I press Control V, it brings up the menu. But as you might expect, this also means that you can now not... also, did you see how it pasted text there? It's so weird, this program. But that means that now we cannot use Control V normally. It will always bring up this global menu, and sometimes you actually just want a normal Control V also. But somehow that, as I remembered it, it was never a problem with ClipJump. And the second genius idea here with ClipJump is, I think there are screenshots here in first steps. We can see a screenshot of it. This is how the UI look here. A tooltip pop-up notification that shows one clip at a time. So here we can see clip 6 out of 23 is this path to some file. And that means if you show one clip at a time in a notification style, then you can show multi-line text blocks and stuff like that. And it's also, I haven't added that to my my version of it here, image support, but that also kind of makes sense in this kind of UI, but it really doesn't make sense in a menu-based UI. So those two elements, showing the history one item at a time in a pop-up, and also making it only use Control C, Control V, Control X and so on. Simple key bindings. That is what made ClipJump so good. And I have created something inspired by ClipJump for X11, and now I will show you that. For build, where is it? God damn it, we do make run. No, where are we? Git Halen GitLab Halen. Alright, make run. Now it is running. And it looks like this. Or you know what, I think we need to copy some text because I just cleaned up the history. So if we copy this, you can see stuff is happening in the terminal. Stuff is happening whenever I select text, when I copy text and stuff like that. I don't know how much we will get into the nitty-gritty here, but we copy some different text snippets here, so we get a history to work with. Alright, now if I press Control V, nothing happens. But if I release the Control key, it will paste whatever is in the clipboard. So this is the last thing we copied there. But if you press Control V, hold Control and press V again, it will bring up the notification. I also think I should change the config, because there is a .file config rising format here. We should have this set to mouse and this to 5. There, make run. Alright. Because now it will show the pop-up at the mouse cursor, centered around the mouse cursor, it will be positioned. And you see, it brings up a pop-up. You can navigate with V and C, go back and forward in the history, and it's super fast, so no need for those stupid menus. And there are some other actions here. You can press X, that will cut the currently selected entry here and just put it in the clipboard. So now if we go to this temporary file here, and if we paste Control V, release Control, there it pasted that thing that we cut from the clipboard history. We can set this to whatever we want. If we want this, X, and then paste, there it is. You will also notice that when I bring up the pop-up here, now the last thing that we added to the clipboard basically is at the top of the list always. But there is another way to paste here. You can just, since you're holding, you have to hold Control and then use V and C to navigate. You can actually just release Control to confirm. Amazing that that was the actual text here. If I release Control, it pastes it immediately. So that makes it really fast and easy to work with this. You just Control, double V, select whatever you want, paste it. If you, for whatever reason, do this by mistake, bring up the pop-up by mistake, you just press Z to cancel, and that will simply do nothing. And as we demonstrated, you can also press X, which will not immediately paste it. It will simply just put it in the clipboard, but you can paste it manually when you want to. And when I say paste, I mean that what it does here under the hood, when you select this clip here, release Control, what it actually does is it will send a fake Control V, is basically what it does, because that is like the universal key binding for pasting almost everywhere. So that will most likely work in most situations, and when it doesn't, then you can use X to manually paste it. And that is also what's happening. Since the pop-up is executed by pressing Control V 2 times, that means that we kind of have to block normal Control V behavior to wait for the next V, so to speak. But if we release Control without pressing V again here, that will also just send a normal Control V, i.e. a normal paste. So it doesn't really break any workflow, at least it shouldn't. I hope it doesn't. And I have some ideas maybe to redesign this, how to bring up the pop-up and stuff like that. But at the moment, this is the only way to bring it up. As we could also see in the configuration file, you can set a line limit, so the max number of characters per line, 80, the max number of lines to 10. Now I don't think we have any large clips here, but let's just select a large file here. I don't know, let's select this clipboard.c, everything, copy, and now bring up the pop-up. You see, now we have a clip with 370 plus lines here, so it's these lines plus 370. So there is no limit to how long large files you store with this clipboard manager, but you can set a limit to how much text you want to display in the UI. Let's try to find a file with long lines. Yeah, this probably has long lines here. That at least exceeds 80 characters, but I'm actually not sure. Yes, here we can see lines that are longer than max line length, 80 in this case. They will get truncated, and an ellipsis of 3 dots will get added to those lines. And whenever it does this, whenever it truncates a line, or if a file has more lines than we have set here, it will actually copy the whole clip to a cache overflow file. So here is that whole C file that we copied. That text is copied here, and here is that text with long lines is copied to this cache file. And we store information on which cache file belongs to each clip. But as you can see in the history file, exactly what you see is what you get, so to speak here. So the history file doesn't get bloated by like hundreds of lines of text if that is what you copy. Instead you get truncated versions. And the thing here, it's not just that it's stored here in the history file, this is also stored in memory when you use the program and such. So it's you don't want like 1 megabyte of text in memory for no good reasons, you know. There is also this metadata field here at the top of the history file. In case you change these settings in the configuration, then it will recalculate the text that is displayed and so on. Maybe there is a smarter way to do this, but that's how I solved it as of now. So it means you can copy any arbitrary length of text, and when you delete entries in the clipboard history, I don't know if we talked about it, but you can delete. Whoops, I pressed the Z there. Let's say we delete this entry by pressing D. You see it deleted the line. It also deleted the overflow file from the cache here. And same here is that 370 lines delete. Now it's gone from the cache and from the history. And this can be very useful to be able to quickly clean up the clipboard history. That is basically it. That is how it works. Maybe we should look a little bit closer at these position configuration things here. So you can either have it displayed as we did now at the mouse cursor, centered around the mouse cursor, but you can also set this to screen. And if we set this to let's say 2, that will be at the top center position, will be the anchor point of the pop-up. So now even if the mouse cursor is down here, I bring up the pop-up, you see now it's centered at the top, because that is 2. It's a second quadrant or whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Meaning that if we want to display it at the bottom right corner, we would add 9. And now it is here. The margin 30, the first number here is the vertical margin, and the second number is the horizontal margin. And I added it so that you can kind of emulate a system tray notification kind of thing. So say we wanted it here just under my taskbar at the top right corner. We changed this to 3, and now the margin numbers are correct here, so it will look like this. You see it's 30 pixels from the top and it's 10 pixels from the right, so you get a nice little gap on it. Without these numbers, of course, it would just be, I don't know if you set this to 0. I think you can just add one number, I don't remember. Yeah, now it's zeroed on both, and then it will show it like that without any gaps. So either screen or mouse, and you can change the anchor position. And this margin values here, or let's do this because yeah, that's these margin values. They will also apply to the mouse. So if we have mouse anchor 3, that means that now it will be drawn with the anchor position, the top right corner of the window, because 3 is top right. The top right corner of the pop-up window will be anchored to the mouse cursor position. You see, it makes sense, right? And that means also, like this clip for example, it's quite long. And if it's top right anchored, it will grow to the left, meaning that if I bring it up with the mouse cursor here, you see it actually moves the window so it fits on the monitor, and it will also apply the horizontal gap here by 10 because it's close to the screen edge. And same with the vertical margin as well. Well, I guess we have to go up here. Now it's 30 pixels from the top. You see, when I had the mouse cursor here, this is probably like 35 pixels from the top. It doesn't apply the vertical padding, only when it, it's trying to draw itself outside of the boundaries, so to speak. That's basically it. You can set colors. As of now, you can only set background, foreground, and count color. Count color is this count of how many clips and which clip you are looking at here. So that is actually blue. Maybe it's hard to see, it doesn't matter. The border is just uses foreground color as of now, and you cannot set the border width or anything, so I will probably add some more rising like that. One thing I would like to add is that whenever a line is truncated with these 3 dots here, it would be nice, I think, to to have those 3 dots in a different color, maybe red or something like that, so you can set that also. And same thing with, yeah, now we don't have any long lines here or multiple lines, but if we copy this and this I would also like in that same color, so it's easy to see when you have a multi-line or long entry. I will probably add that later someday. You can set font. It uses font configuration to apply the correct font hints and stuff like that, and it seems to work fine. I'm not a big font guy like that. To me, font rendering is extremely difficult to grasp, really. But yeah, let's not even go there. And I'm fairly happy with this implementation of the ClipJump functionality. It is not a one-to-one at all implementation, and ClipJump actually had lots of bloated, in my opinion, features. For example, this channels feature, which is like a way to add multiple history files, basically, so you could have different contexts and switch between those and stuff like that, which, yeah, so you could have like an office and maybe a coding or whatever. But in my opinion, that overcomplicates a good simple concept. It also has a plugins infrastructure thing here, so you can add like a plugin that, for example, when you paste the text, it will all caps the text and stuff like that. But honestly, also in my opinion, I think it's adding too much complexity to a simple little program, and it is not that simple. I actually have, and maybe there is a smarter way to do this, because I am not really a C programmer, but at the moment at least, there are 3 different events loop. We have one that simply only monitors the control key, because this was the only way I could make it reliably like destroy the pop-up when you release the control key and stuff like that. So it's actually a separate event loop, and I wonder if it's not also a separate X session that does this. I will actually look into this, try to optimize this a bit, because I think I open one unnecessary X session or whatever to do this. And another event loop is, of course, the clipboard monitoring, so it monitors the clipboard. I should also mention that as it is now, it actually uses Xclip to get and set the content of the clipboard, because this clipboard management stuff on X and the Linux, it's really hairy, so to speak. So I just thought myself, whatever, let's just use Xclip, and then I can try to implement the functionality like built in later. And I have actually not even tried to do it. I did this very early on in the development process using Xclip, and as it is now, Xclip is a dependency. But I would kind of want to have everything built in. It should be possible, but it is really hairy to work with the clipboard. And this makes it easy, and I have not noticed any issues whatsoever using Xclip here, so maybe I will just keep it. But monitoring the clipboard is an event loop in itself, and then of course like the UI and the just normal keyboard grabbing and stuff needs a separate X session thing. So it's a multi-threaded little crazy program, this. And I will just briefly mention it here, that I have actually not written this program in Sublime. I used Visual Studio Code with vibe coding technology, not ChatGPT. I'm using Claude Sonnet. Claude Sonnet 4 has been mostly responsible for this program. I've been using it like this, opening Copilot in a separate window like that, and just doing the vibe coding thing, and I have enjoyed it very, very much. And this is not the first vibe coding project I have done, and it definitely not the last. The thing is, I actually have so Halen is available on GitHub now. I will update this a bit to make the makefile have an install target. I will fix a little issue with config file parsing when there doesn't exist a proper configuration file, but it will respect like XDG specs and load the configuration file from .config blah blah blah. I will just update, make a little bit of housekeeping to actually make this installable and usable for anyone. As it is now, in the state it is, there is probably some minor issues, but as I can see, it seems to work pretty well now. But I'm sure that if I just use this myself now for a couple of weeks, I will notice issues and things to improve, things to remove, maybe redesign this, how to bring up the pop-up control VV. Maybe that's not a good idea. I will notice that it will clash with other functionality or something like that. I don't know. All I know is that is my plan. I will not add that much more functionality or modify the code at all here now, except for this makefile stuff. And then just use the program and try to discover what needs to be done before making a proper release of it. And the thing is, I actually have another program. I will not even open the repository, but I will show you that I have a repository here. On Bud Labs, I have this Ika program, which is also created in VS Code with vibe coding technology. The code quality of this one, I'm sure, is much worse than it is on this one, the Halen. And I think I will actually rewrite this whole thing to not be as insane as it is. But it is also working, and I am using it at the moment. It is running here in the background, and I have been using it for weeks without really touching the code. Now I'm opening the repo anyways, but just to see. Yeah, you see here, I haven't touched the code here in 3 weeks. And I have noticed a couple of minor issues, important issues actually, that I need to address. And as I mentioned, I also learned a lot more, because that's the thing here, even if it is vibe coded, like AI has basically generated all of this code, but I have reviewed it as carefully as I can, and there have been like days when I have not used AI and just went through all the code, refactored it and moved it around, but basically it is written by AI. It's very, very little code that I have written myself here. And I did the same thing with this Ika program. I kind of lost the track there. But what I want to say is that I have a couple of programs, and I have another program that is far from finished at all. I am not running it in the background or anything because it is not usable for anything, but it will be in maybe a week or something. So I have a third program going here, and this is kind of my workflow now, because this AI vibe coding stuff here has been very, very good for my creativity. It feels like I've gotten a boost, and you know, if you have followed Bud Labs used to be very creative and publish and create stuff all the time. Then Bud Labs stopped doing that, and maybe this is something that makes Bud Labs want to create stuff, and I think that's a good thing. That's kind of what matters. But I know VS Code, it's kind of cringe, and it's not a cool text editor. The thing is, I have often used it for a couple of hours, like just generating code iterating over some functionality and stuff like that, and then I have closed VS Code and then opened the project in Sublime, where it's a little bit more sane and quiet and fast to work with when I want to work with it manually. So I've been going back and forth a bit like that. I've also tried Zed editor for a different project, and I actually like the VS Code workflow better. I will not talk more about that. I will never talk about that again, actually. But that's another approach. All of this is so new, you know. What the end game UI will be, who knows? But it feels like this incorporated chat window like this, something like this will probably be cemented in programming text editors. I'm pretty sure it makes a lot of sense. Like a chat that is aware of the context of the project that you are working on, that you can talk about the project, and that can give you diffs and stuff for the files. Something along those lines will be everywhere, I believe. No idea what Sublime... Sublime seems to completely ignore this AI hype altogether. And maybe that's a good thing, you know, that they simply don't even try to add stuff like this. At least that's what I can see. But I'm actually not sure. I don't pay that much attention to Sublime development and stuff like that. But I don't think there are any plans for this stuff. And yeah, VS Code is what has been working for me. It's also kind of a streamlined, getting Copilot. It's Microsoft Copilot. You get an account, you get a pro plan, you get VS Code. Everything should work, and it does work. It's easy to set up, but it's also, I know it is cringe in many ways, but this is at least what I got working. And, you know, what is most important? The setup, the result, the process, whatever. Does it matter? This is what I have now. And, you know, if you really don't like AI, you know, the best thing you can do to prove how useless and stupid it is to review the code here. I am actually very interested in getting feedback on because that's another cool thing with this, you know. If someone would find like a serious memory leak or something here, or some insane coding practice, I wouldn't take it personally at all, because it's basically not me who have written this code. It's like interesting to see, but I have tried, and I have even set up like a profiler with how is it? Make run profile. I think it's. Let's see. VS Code make file. Profile heap track. Okay, make profile. So I downloaded this heap track program, which analyzes the memory allocations and stuff, so you can visualize it like this. And I tried to, I'm extremely new to this, but I really wanted to, or I really want it to be as unbloated as possible, at least, or as I can get it. So and this program seems to be really good. Have not used it much at all. This that's a lot of allocations. From main, I guess that's all allocations then. Whatever. I need to look into this more. And if someone is experienced in this kind of stuff and find issues or whatever, please let me know. Since, as I mentioned, I will not take it personally, really. All I want is like the end result, the pop-up based clipboard management, keyboard Control V, Control C oriented kind of thing. That's all that matters to me. I don't want to rewrite it in a different language, and I think I want it to be a C project, and I would like to use as few dependencies and stuff like that as possible. We'll see where this eventually ends this project. But I think it will not be that much more added, changed, simply improving what I have here. So with that, I will end this video. But I guess after I have fixed this up a bit with the makefile and that stuff, I will go back to ICA now and try to fix the issues I have noticed with this. And then I can make a video about that, because that is almost even cooler than this clipboard manager. But before I do that, I guess I should also address my i3as issues here. I really need to do that, because I have a user who have problems with don't remember what browser it was. Some of the Firefox forks, you know, IceCat or whatever it was. Yeah, there are some issues with the bookmark window and i3 King. I need to look into this and see what that is about. So yeah, but it feels good. It feels really good. I have lots of stuff in the pipeline, in the Bud Labs pipeline, and I have almost too many projects I want to do, and they are, some of them are C programs, some of them might be Go programs, web development programs, all related. Some of them might be setting up a personal Arch repository, because I don't use AUR anymore, and I guess I could make a video about that, and blah blah blah. We'll see how many videos I will make during my vacation, because I actually have vacation now and there is at least 4 weeks left of that, which feels really good, and I don't really have anything planned. I just needed to rest, I felt. So I took a 5-week vacation this year without any plans. All I kind of wanted to do was like vibe code and take it easy, because it's been a rough year at work. I have been very exhausted, and it feels great to just do things that I enjoy, which is this stuff. Maybe I should also go outside some days, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. There are 4 weeks left, and I wish you the best of days. See you in the next video. Bye 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 bye. Save